All right, lives and writing. Let's get the word out there that the Writer Brothers is live. It's going out over the air right now.
That's hilarious. Speaking his true language.
Oh, right. No, I don't need that. Catch up live, please. Thank you.
These are the two trailers months apart. One's from the second one is from November. The first one is from last week. And I don't understand what the what is that called? The pre-screening audience is getting paid for. But the fact that it keeps having to go to teaser before the real audience goes, hey guys, can you change this real quick? Or we're not going to watch it. Yeah. It means that like whichever echo chamber they're using for their like, I don't know, their secret screenings and all that stuff that like tells them whether or not it's going to be a good film. Like y'all got to branch out. Might have to leave your neighborhood. All the people you're talking to want to work for you. So
right. I should probably get something going on the screen here.
They're brown nosing. That's why you gotta leave Hollywood. Go to Rancho Cucamonga. Hang out with the workaholic boys.
Yes, I would like one order of whatever John's been smoking this week, please.
I have been smoking not.
Oh, that's a good one. That's one of my favorites this week.
Yeah. Called Freedom?
I smoked the day off today, too. It was pretty good. Slept all day because, fell on my fat ass at the bar yesterday. I wasn't even planning on drinking. I just, one of my new sort of musician friends was playing there, and so I figured I'd just hang out for a song or two. Go to sit down, move the stool, and next thing I know, I'm going out back behind the stool and on the floor. And at 33, going on 34 years old, that just hits differently now.
Shame equals alcohol.
So I was like, all right, well, now I can feel more pain. Drinking time. Now I do need a drink. I wasn't actually planning on it. Hey, it's Key West.
That is the best thing about living.
You watching this new loading screen or what? I put a little bit of work into it. You also need to start a Reddit.
No. Oh, dude, that is.
Because if that's your reaction, I'm starting a Reddit.
You can do a Reddit. I don't Reddit. I
do actually.
Internet. I'm really bad at the internet, man. Yeah. I mean, it's like, when people say like, I'm working on it, I gotta get my fix, like get off of it. Like, I do keep pulling up Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. Hey, but I'm not following.
Did you enjoy watching Adult Swim back in the day? Or do you enjoy watching it?
I love Adult.
Okay, then you gotta watch the loading screen, because this was kind of the inspiration.
It's actually really nice. Like, honestly, it reminds me of a slow roll of Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Always Sunny?
I have.
Yeah, the opening where it's all over PA. This reminds me of a slower version of that.
Oh, you gotta check out.
Just because it's not flashing from location to location.
Then you definitely gotta check out the intro for the End of the World that I
put together. One day, when I wake up on You know, I think that we shouldn't cut the accidental leak because then it gives everybody the 10 minutes and it also gives me 10 minutes to rant. Like, I really need to talk to people about all of these Congress
we cut the accidental leak at least 3 minutes beforehand, though. But yes, we can keep it going. If everybody
cut it to
enjoys
30 seconds before, you go 30 seconds. All right, everybody get into actual show mode. That way I can do a 10-minute pre-rating, which I have loaded up because I don't know if anybody knows this, but when your local representative phones in their town hall from Washington, D.C., that's what you call your D.C. representative. And back in 1775, when the colonies were being taxed to pay for wars they weren't participating
Yo, we
in.
just hit negative 12 views. Keep going.
Actually, we got 3. Holy
That's supposed to say the
so
real
basically number. God's work right now. But in 1776, the reason that the wheel American colonists decided to revolt, it was what was it again? Oh yeah, it was because corporations like the East India Trading Company were taxing people to maximize their own monopolist profit to support a war in Britain and France. And the Americans were just like, hey, we just want representation in Congress. Like, we just want one of our guys in your parliament to actually have some like authority and be like, hey, maybe they don't get a 75% tax increase this year. Because, you know, that'll piss them off. Like, maybe we keep the plebs pleb. But they didn't. And that's what the government did. And so, like, these town halls are the exact same thing. Like, how is it that our congresspeople can actually consider themselves our congresspeople if they can't even make it home for their town hall, let alone the winter? It baffles me that people allow this. Like, it baffles me that they can stay in office for 37 years in a row. Shout out to Idaho's upcoming town hall, March 30th, Senator Mike Crapo posting online.
Oh, Crapo's gonna be doing a town hall. Hey, good for him. I like this. We're doing a little sampling of the end of the world. Of course, we need to get the end of the world podcast.
No, this is
time. Although I say that doing our E2IP on a Wednesday.
This is John secretly ranting, and we can blame it on accidental hot mics.
It's true, but I can't even show up for the Tuesday show on time anymore. This thing. Thank you, Comcast. Your incompetence knows no bounds.
Your monopoly is doing everybody no service. Literally. That's I thought that's what the judges said about the whole current situation with trust and antitrust laws, was like, as long as the monopoly is providing for the consumer. Shout out to Comcast not providing for the consumer. Stay blessed. This is my new one, Parker. Doing this whenever somebody says stay blessed. No, just yes, stay blessed.
Yeah. This is the actual Key West greeting. This is how we say
really
hello
nice.
in Key West, and nobody can see it right now because we're just leaking audio. But we'll have
They're
to.
usually really nice, so I'm like, I kind of still have to make it look like I'm enjoying that phrase, but I'm not. Whenever somebody says stay blessed, in and out, or pleasure to be of service. Thank you for your service. Stabilize.
Alright.
To be honest, this loading screen is very calming. It makes my rant seem very meek.
You know, yeah.
I love the ocean. It makes me feel small, and I'm okay with that.
I love being surrounded by water.
But also just makes your problems small, because there aren't many ocean people causing traffic.
No, it's just all the damn tourists coming down here, clogging up US 1.
Oh, dude, it's the fact that you decided to have to do something.
Of course, I shouldn't call them damn tourists. Those are customers, and I appreciate them very much.
Money machines, ATMs, consumers. Get it, dude. You're a good boy. He's with his enemies, lets them reload, and then pulls the trigger. Oh, you thought you had a chance because I wasn't pulling the trigger? No, I wanted you to get that reload and feel confident, and now you're dead.
Tonight, we're going to talk about that Ted Lasso Season 4, as well as an X-Men 97 Season 3 already, and as well as everything else in pop culture that you need to know on the Entertainment Information Intelligence Podcast. And welcome to tonight's Entertainment Information Intelligence Podcast. Wow, you know, I really could actually make that into a full-on Joker parody with that. You know, we are tonight's Entertainment Information Intelligence Podcast. We of course missed you guys on our usual broadcast day of Tuesday because, well, the internet was down and like most of Key West, unless you had AT&T, which obviously I didn't, or we would have been here. And, man, I just made my glasses look worse. Whatever. I can see, I don't know. It's all good. So, yeah. But let's go ahead and go around the room, starting with, John. John, what's up, man? Good to see you. Sorry we missed you last night.
Hi.
All right.
Had to get my Joker reference in there.
I'm apparently a little slow today. That was pretty funny. Yeah. Hi. Good one. I also
Honestly,
noticed
that
the
was
sun
me
is still
trying
out
to
where you
channel
live.
The Office when everybody comes to the office dressed as the Joker right after The Dark Knight Rises, or The Dark Knight. Why so... No, Dwight, it's my turn. Why so serious?
Yeah, and then Creed is like the most crappily dressed one of them all. Yeah, that's funny. That's a good one.
Wow, Creed, what are you for Halloween? It's Halloween?
It's Halloween.
Wow, this worked out.
That it did. All right. I have to blank John and I real quick because as a competent showrunner, it is my duty to make sure that I get everything set up correctly. And I was almost there. We almost had it. I almost ran a perfect show, and then I realized I forgot to set up my presentation. Now we're back on track. So let's go ahead and get right into the intelligence. X-Men 97 Season 3 apparently gets an Omega level filming update. So we're already talking about, we haven't even watched season 2 yet because it hasn't released, and we've already got a season 3 for X-Men 97. Before we get
With
too
an
much into
update,
this,
what does that mean? Does that, like, I'm really, like, this to me is the thought that I've had for the last few years since Unreal 5 came out. Like, when are animation studios gonna put that to use? Like, you get 85% of a video game, and now you get a director coming in and asking for some cinematography edits on scenes. Like, we've seen it. You know it can be done, and we've seen what Unreal is doing. So like, if somebody just pays their studios, like individuals, to learn it and educate and then create a usable database that like mostly it's a library. If you have every texture, if you have every item available, then it's like, okay, I want to make a Disney movie. So I'm going to do mostly princesses. So I'm going to go to the princess side of the library. And wow, now all I have to do is write the story because the characters are mostly drawn up. And all I have to do is make sure it's not copying anyone that's also in my direct work area. It's like, that's the kind of group effort that we could really all benefit from. And it's a lot cheaper than you think if you have the library. Like, if you have one team developing objects and another team developing pathways for those objects to be readily available, and then a couple of trainers doing the coaching,
yeah.
now your
You know
directors can just go, hey, I want to.
So basically, you could just, make a show using the video game engine and then just release the game. But
Yeah,
it's all the shows
in a row.
all the scenes are
Well,
all
dude, because
together.
now it's like,
I do believe that is probably going to be the next
George
thing.
R. R. Martin, you get all of these guys that are actually just some of the most insane world builders that we've ever seen. And then you team them up with the most literal world builders, like the most talented world builders we've ever seen, with the technology that can literally provide digital worlds. And now it's like, let's just add those writers and those worlds into a movie, have a director do the movie, and the game is added merch that everybody wants to spend $60 on because they just watched an awesome movie about a free world that just showed up.
Yeah, no, I've actually back when Star Trek Discovery came out, I actually thought that was going to be the time, like especially when the studios actually started talking and working directly with the developers of Star Trek Online, because they actually they actually did use Star Trek Online ships for Picard season 2, and then of course, again in season 3 they actually had the team actually develop the Enterprise. But I thought that this era of Star Trek, we were going to start seeing Star Trek Online do like special missions that would then, be referenced in some of the actual shows. And even you could even like have scenes of characters where they're interacting with the player on one, at one angle, but from the show's perspective, you only see the person interacting with the player. That way it gives the illusion that this person is actually not just interacting with the player during the player's version of the mission, but then while the show is going on, the show sees that same character, and so that, bridges the gap, so that way you can be like, oh my gosh, I was actually playing the game. I know what they're referencing in this episode of the show. But yeah, that's still probably see, and I think you can get that really with what you're saying, except it would be more you wouldn't need to do camera trickery to pull off the illusion. You just
no, see, and that's the one part that's really hard is camera trickery. But like, here's the coolest part: you can have Picard go on a mission, standard Star Trek episode, and now that brief is an episode in the game, and now you can do it differently.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Yeah, that works too. That's another cool way to do
it.
Right? But turning back now,
the RPG, like they keep writing all these roles, and then nothing for anybody to do with them because like either the Joker, the movie The Joker is actually the biggest example of this. The guy who wrote it only wrote The Joker because that's all.
Oh, it's all what?
Sorry, that's all studios were buying at the time.
Right.
And because that's all studios were buying at the time, he just did it. But then he crushed it on the first one. So then everyone was like, well, we have to have a sequel. And he's like, no. And they're like, well, we're going to pawn it off to someone else. And he was like, I'm going to ruin this because I don't want a trilogy. Like, it's not what I was trying to do. And that's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think so. Turning back to X-Men '97, before we get back to the Collider bit, and we'll read through it since you have questions. And honestly, I'm going into this article blind, but I did just want to point out my own enthusiasm for season one. X-Men '97 was a pleasant surprise. I, having grown up sort of watching the original, at least from what I remember watching the original, I felt it not only lived up to itching that nostalgia, but it also it was one of the more positive aspects of taking nostalgia and putting a little nuance into it, but also like getting new stories and giving us something that still felt fresh while still feeling connected to the past. I felt that '97 season one was an excellent was one of the better uses of nostalgia media.
97 is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, there are enthusiastic X-Men fans that are also capable writers today. And when you give them 97, that's what we get. Like, it is clearly written by die-hard tryhards, and I am here for it. Like, that's what makes the money, is anybody who's willing to try that hard and write something that good deserves the opportunity to have it put into screen and put out. And that's what I'm asking for. And that's where I think the like game combination part is the really fun part, is because now you have other people invested and you're creating a library for other fans, future fans, to come in and work off of that library rather than start from scratch later. And that's what 97 is the epitome of. Like, the very fact that they had decades of previous legacy to work with. And then they did. Like, in the modern society, Star Wars also had a decade of films and stories and books to work with, and they didn't.
No,
This is my point.
because
Like,
they didn't
that
want
is
to pay
my whole rounding
royalties.
point, is you create the library and then you force your writers to read. You force your EPs to read and go to the library. You do not let them produce slop because you have a library of success. And that library of success means the standard, the bare minimum in Studio X is now a lot higher because there's a library to go to. There's no excuse. There never should have been. I thought that's why people were getting millions and millions and millions of more dollars year over year. That one of the fastest growing industries in the world. Same with the video game industry, but for some reason the libraries are not being kept. Like, if you're gonna run something that is literally creating the world, maybe use the world as an example for how to maintain it. And the current way people are maintaining the world is not working out for 99% of the people in the world. So, like, maybe don't copy and paste that one.
Yeah, no, no. But I did enjoy X-Men '97 season one. I am looking forward to season two, but apparently we have some information about season three that's important, and we're gonna go ahead and get into that. This is, of course, comes to us from Collider. I'm just gonna read the article as we go, since John's trying to figure out what exactly the point of this article is, and you know what, he's got a good point with that question.
Well, not so much what is the point, like, because it does make sense. Like, basically what they're saying is they just got a funnel of funding before the season two premiere even came out, because season one is still generating a lot of views. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not going back and rewatching season one, but
no,
that's because I have a 1 year
right,
rule
yeah,
for
exactly.
anything new.
Yeah. Rogue
But
voice,
like,
Rogue voice
I want
actor.
to.
Well, maybe season three will give you that incentive to do so. Rogue voice actor Lenore Zahn just dropped a major update about the future of X-Men 97, including when the crew will begin working on Season 3. It's been almost a year since X-Men 97 premiered on Disney Plus and shocked the world on its way to becoming the highest-rated Marvel Disney Plus series. But news about Season 2 and beyond has been eerily quiet. Marvel announced well before the release of Season 1 that the studio is already working on a second season of X-Men 97. But when showrunner Bao DeMayo was fired shortly before its premiere, it raised questions about the fate of the series. Bo DeMayo? Bo DeMayo?
DeMayo.
Bo DeMayo. Bo DeMayonnaise. Yeah. Boa Constrictor de mayonnaise. Or bow as in like Legolas, bow and arrow.
No, bow like the French word bow.
Yeah, French I know it is. Bow. I can read. Well, when I can't.
But DeMayo, it's really funny because it's like French and Spanish.
Yeah. I call it Americanese at this point. We just throw our own shit.
Bay de May.
During a recent Indiana comic convention panel moderated by Collider's Maggie Lovett, X-Men 97 star Lenore Zahn revealed that Season 3 will begin filming voice lines much sooner than we thought. Huh? That line doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry. Yeah. Begin filming voice lines.
It's the documentary portion. They like lately they do film and like audio because they capture the whole room.
Okay. Well, I mean, I figured. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, oh, they freaking throwing are they throwing actors into motion capture now? Because I know that's what they did in Grand Theft Auto. It wasn't just a recording studio for those guys. They had to put on suits and actually act their characters' scenes.
That's actually a regularly done thing. Apparently, even for Logan, like the whole running scene, they actually had him in a sound studio running on a treadmill.
Yeah.
Just for the grunting.
Well, that makes sense. But either way, I'm about to start to go into the studio next week to start on Season 3, so I've got lots to look forward to. Fans were disappointed when Marvel Studios announced Disney Plus slate 2025 to see X-Men 97 was absent. Yeah, I don't know why this new season every 2 years thing is becoming a normal trend. Oh, I was going to say. As the North first Season 2 is going to be 2026, while that's a long time to wait, Marvel is still delivering plenty of content in the meantime to keep its Disney Plus subscriber base occupied. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man kicked off the year on Disney Plus, while some controversy from the lead star cast a shadow over the series around the time of its premiere. That didn't stop it from finishing its run as one of the highest-rated TV shows. We're also in the middle of Daredevil Born Again. I do need to start catching up on Daredevil soon, which returns iconic Marvel Netflix actors such as Charlie Cox and John Brenthal to their roles of Matt Murdock and Frank Castle, while other veterans like Deborah Ann Woll and Eldon Henson are also back. Who stars in X-Men 97? Let's see. During the panel, Zahn was joined by the X-Men animated series veterans Allison Court and Chris Potter, who both joined the cast for Season 1 as new characters alongside George Buzza and Cal Dodd, who returned to voice the mutants Beast and Wolverine, with newer stars such as Holly Chow and Ray Chase voicing Jubilee and Cyclops. Jennifer Hale was also tapped to bring Jean Grey and Madeline Pryor to life, and Matthew Watterson made headlines for his gripping voice performance as Magneto. Yeah, he did. He was probably one of the strongest. I mean, the whole cast in this season was, like, considering some of these people had big roles to fill from voice actors that had long since passed when their first shows run, these guys did a really good job. Like, I was thoroughly impressed. Wait, can I move this around over here? No, I can't. So we'll see. I mean, Season 3, that's good to hear that they're already filming for Season 3, but we'll see. We'll see how that shapes up. All right, 1923. That's another show that I need to get back into because it's also out, and it was also a show that I think we really enjoyed that first season. So we're going to need to talk about how much content we're shoving back onto the E2IP because
look, This is where it gets really difficult. This is where I blame the fans for not telling us what they want. Like, you guys can just say any of these and be like, no, this is the one, please. Because somebody did that for Severance, and we did it for Severance.
And we still need to
We're
catch back
starting.
up on
We have more
Severance.
to
Sorry,
do.
we will. We're gonna finish our offline series for Severance, but
And it's well worth it because Severance is phenomenal. But
yeah.
like, you guys got to ask, and we will deliver.
At the
But
same
also,
time,
like,
at the
we
same
want to
time,
deliver everything, so help us out.
at the same time, we are also grown boys and girls and can decide for ourselves what content we want to watch. And while I have thoroughly enjoyed this pop culture presentation, and we will continue, I think we're going to have at least an hour of pop culture minimum to do, or around that. But I do miss talking about shows, and I think that's something we're going to bring back into our discussion because, well, we stayed on top of shows when we showed up for the live show. We've not stayed on top of them going offline, so, we'll figure it out.
I mean, I'm cleared up on Invincible, Reacher, Red versus Blue, Whitest Kids You Know. I might have deviated as well.
That's fine. Yeah, no, I still haven't even finished Severance. I will. We will finish Severance. That's still going to happen. It's just, life's getting shuffled around, shit's happening crazily, and, yeah. But anyway, 1923 star Brian... I really should rehearse this shit some days before I go live. Girardi? Yeah. 1923 star Brian G. on his surprising
Garrett.
season 2 comeback.
Brian Garrett.
Right, Brian Jarahi.
Brian Garrett, your enemies.
Jarahi. Anyway, the actor who plays a Dutton Ranch foreman on the Yellowstone prequel series talks about his timely and personal interracial marriage storyline. Right, I guess that would technically be interracial. How they pulled off a 1920s-style brain surgery and the Harrison Ford line I got to say with Harrison Ford. 23 has officially welcomed back Zane Davis, the ranch foreman who is played by Brian G. in the Yellowstone prequel series.
Let's stop. I'm getting too many spoilers because we don't remember him getting home from the boat.
Damn, you got a good point there. So join us next week as we talk about. We're gonna talk about pop culture. We're still talking pop culture next week, but we are also gonna talk. We're talking about Invincible. We're talking about 1923. We're gonna start reviewing shows again starting next week. That we were a better channel for that at the time, and that's what we need. We also need to do books again, but we'll do a different thing for books all around.
When you guys pay me to read, I'll read.
Fair enough. Otherwise, I'll just do the reading stuff with Scogli.
Unless you feel like reading C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy, because I just finished that.
Yeah.
And the first 2 books are awesome. The third didn't make any sense, but the first 2 were phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, I guess we didn't get a chance to talk. No, that's right. I complained about this one on Twitter. We haven't had a chance for me to whine about it on the show yet. So, for those who don't know, or if you did already but didn't want to know, I'm going to remind you, another Starship Troopers movie is in the works, but this gives me hope. Now, for those of you who've followed this channel since day one and may happen to be watching right this second, you will know that we actually did a book and movie comparison of Starship Troopers. And if you'd like to go back and watch that, please do. Probably put a link in the chat, or if John, if you want to grab the link from the channel, that'd be awesome. Or if H3 has a quick second, that would work too.
But
put a link for the.
I've already read the book for that one.
I know.
So I'll rewatch the video, and I'll be caught up as well.
For those who don't know, I'll summarize the rant because, no, wait, actually, let's pull it up and watch it live. No, I'm just kidding. That sounds like a terrible idea. For those who don't know, I will summarize. Basically, I felt that the book, or that the movie, was an early form of cultural misappropriation in that it didn't follow the book exactly because the creator of the movie thought that the book was serious about why it was making a case for fascism. And, well, no, it was making a case for fascism to show why it's not a good idea. However,
oh man, we had this discussion. You guys really got to watch because the biggest thing, Parker's frustration, I'm pretty sure we resolved it in that show as well because we found out that the original writer of the movie did understand Robert Heinlein and decided that the movie was going to be an ad as if it was a recruiting video
which it is a very good
showing
job
like
of that.
exactly like the whole thing was it wasn't supposed to be a lift from the book as if it was Lord of the Rings. It was supposed to be a lift from the book as if an advertiser had to use the book to promote recruitment. And I think that is so clever. And I thought it was clever then. And that's why I'm like hyped for District 9 because that's the same thing that guy did. He's like, what if alien invasion really was an accident?
Well, I think that he's going to do a better job of giving us a version of the book that is closer to the book without, spoofing it so hard. Like the Starship Troopers movie we have now works just fine as a standalone film. It didn't need scenes and moments lifted from the story. But that's okay. Uh honestly, the one that I really want to see made into a movie or a TV series is the Forever War, to be perfectly honest, which was like the opposite of Starship Troopers, but that one was a good story. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved District 9. That was an incredible film. It's still like it was not what I was expecting for an alien, invasion. First of all, right out of the gate, movie surprises me by not having it take place in America, so that was shocking. But then, of course, it was just a really good introspective of what might happen if this type of alien invasion or something did happen. And so I think that with this guy at the helm doing a Starship Troopers movie, yeah, I think he's going to do it good. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing it.
Chappie as well?
Huh?
Didn't this guy do Chappie as well?
Yeah, I think so. But that one didn't do as well.
Like this guy does the existential from a real world perspective the best. Like all of his characters feel like a slightly different version of me. Like District 9 is about a guy who went down the science route and aliens showed up.
Yeah.
Like Chappie, same thing. Like that guy's more like Tesla, so obviously he was a little bit of a wonder boy that I am not. But like even then, the gangsters are not wonder boys. Like they just felt like typical gangsters. And so like they're the ones that actually humanize Chappie and teach you to see artificial intelligence differently. And that's where I think this guy could do Starship Troopers Robert Heinlein style. And it won't discredit the other one in any way. If anything, it'll lift scenes from the other one to show how that recruiting ad also influenced Robert Heinlein's story.
Yeah.
Like if anything, it'll be like the names of the characters have been changed to protect their identities. But then you'll immediately realize that they haven't. They're the exact same names from the original movie and the original book. But then it sounds like, oh, in the future, they change everybody from John Doe and Jane Doe to insert the character names. It makes it so much more fun. And this is the guy that would do that. I think this is a lot of fun.
Well, I'm excited, and I would very much like to know more, but I guess we'll have to wait for the movie to come out. Also from The Hollywood Reporter, Eli Roth launches horror section production studio, invites fans to become investors. Filmmaker Eli Roth has launched the horror section, a new all-encompassing horror media company that aims not just to make a killing in the independent scary movie space, but also make horror fans an integral part of the company. Okay, this is This is interesting.
Just how are we doing the voting? And
Right.
the biggest
Right.
one
Whose
is,
fan fiction gets to be made into a movie, right?
how fast does this become Valve? Where like nobody wants to make Half-Life 3.
Right. Nobody wants to
And
do
that's
horror
the
movies
frustrating
anymore.
thing about complete democracy is eventually it starts to piddle out. So like, what's the plan? I
Well,
encourage you to adopt the scared to death Dan Cummins method, which is do one or two movies that you, the director who came up with this idea, know what you're doing,
yeah.
and then do one crowd voted on one, and then two or three, and then one.
Yeah.
That way, the audience and the crowd has more time to see what you're good at when they vote for the crowd pick. And then that way, you also have more time to focus on what you're good at rather than trying to please everyone, which
Yeah.
is the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, and it's yeah. So I'm gonna read further to see what this entails, and yeah. The Splattermaster, who has spent most of his 25 plus year career making movies ranging from Cabin Fever and Hostel to Knock Knock and Thanksgiving, has partnered with Media Capital Technologies for the venture, which includes not only producing and distributing original films theatrically, but also carving out a place for horror, television, gaming, podcasts, and live events. I've done this very successfully, and everything that I've done for this zone has made a lot of money for a lot of people, Roth tells The Hollywood Reporter. Now it's time to put it all under one umbrella, build a label, but really do that go for the throat horror that I love, that the fans love from me. Pointing to his 2023 horror hit Thanksgiving as an example of the type of fare that horror section could produce, he adds, "I would want Thanksgiving to be the tamest type of movie that I would do for this new company. This is the baseline. Everything else is going to go further than that." Let's see. In Thanksgiving, a killer known as John Carver, wow, of course, slices his victims like they were a turkey meat ready for the serving. Roth and MCT are getting ready to give movie fans a slice of the new company. Horror Section has partnered with investigating platform Republic to give accredited and non-accredited investors worldwide a piece of Roth's bloody pie. Launching March 21st up to a 10
Investing platform Republic, not investigating platform
Oh,
Republic.
investing. Thank you. Maybe if I didn't wear glasses.
No, I am just as dyslexic as you are, so it took me a minute to go, why does this not make any sense?
Why does Parker
And then,
sound like an idiot? Oh, that's
no,
why.
I was like, I was trying to figure out who is investigating Platform Republic. What do they do? And then you said
Right. It's
investing stuff,
partnered with
and I was like, I
investing
think a
platform
word was wrong.
Republic. Oh, that's the platform. To give accredited, non-accredited investors worldwide a piece of Roth's bloody pie. Launching March 21st, up to 10% stake will be available for fans who will be able to share in potential profits and ownership of horror characters and franchises and enjoy first looks and perks. One of the perks Roth is offering is killing a fan on camera in one of his movies. Okay, so I think I've read enough.
Crowdfunding done right.
This is
I'm going to be honest, this is everything exactly that we opened the show with that I was trying to say. What did he just say? He's like, I've done so well at so many different studios collecting what I'm good at and what I know is going to work. Now I'm just going to do that as one studio. Like, now we have a proof of concept for what I was talking about earlier. So if this works out, I am really good at this whole telling people what to do thing.
Well, I mean, it looks like a more it looks like a mostly horror focused form of like GoFundMe, but with reputable and people that actually have success in the industry and in the genre.
I wouldn't even go so far as to say just GoFundMe. It's like it's everything I'm trying to like say like Disney should do, which is like Disney is all of its IP. So what they should do is put all of their IP into its individual brackets and then have those brackets actually focused on all of these delivery systems: podcasts, video games, movies, books, comic books, TV shows, streamers, YouTube shows. Like, all you're doing is saying, hey, we know the fans are out there. We want your help. If you help, we keep making what you like, which, I thought that's what supply and demand economics was. And if you're an entertainment company, the thing you're supposed to supply is entertaining entertainment. And that's a blanket term. Like, that's a very generous umbrella to operate in. And the
Yeah.
fact that, like, Disney is not doing that, and Eli Roth is like, yeah, this just makes sense. It's like, why is it that one guy is doing this when Bob Iger can go, that's what Eli's doing? I have so many IPs that I could do that with. Like, I don't have to be horror. I can do that with just Marvel. I can do that with just Spider-Man if I work with Sony appropriately. Like, it's how you make all the money, and for some reason, it's a new idea. It's revolutionary. Like the horror section. You mean Disney, the Disney section, like the Disney store, Disneyland. Like, how is it that Disney is behind the curve? Why are there less video games, less Disney podcasts? But horror is, I mean, have you guys seen Winnie the Pooh? I haven't, but
I
that was
haven't
supposed to
yet,
be
but that did look
I don't think I saw, I think I saw Thanksgiving because it seems like one I recently saw. Like, my family loves horror, so we watch all of it. But like, I can't remember. I know I saw Cabin Fever. That one was nuts. But like, yeah, I'm here for it. I just think this is like, this isn't me saying too late, like too little, too diddle. It's no, this is right on time. This is what everybody should do. This is a strategic market move.
Yeah.
This is how they make money. This guy is going to crush it because, like, you can't host fan conventions, writing conventions, because now you're leaving yourself open to lawsuit. But you can host investor calls where your investors submit their writing.
yeah. But they're not going to, so.
It's like, how do you legally? No, it's like, how do you legally do this? You just bring the investors in. You make, like, oh, now I have a fiduciary responsibility to the people that love horror. Thanks. Finally.
Yeah. Well,
Like, Disney, you have a fiduciary responsibility to the people that love Disney.
Yeah. Yeah, except that Disney will decide what you want, and you will shut up and consume product. Well, they're finally kind of shifting away. Although, of course, now we see
how they can do it, and it clearly lost them shit tons of money. Like, the numbers are in.
Snow White is bombing hard right now.
Dude, Snow White bombed so hard pre-release that they didn't even red carpet premiere it. That's the amount of money that went into the initial marketing and shoot, and then the remarketing and reshoot, and then they canceled the premiere. Like, that's why Lilo changed. Like, Lilo and Stitch, one of our next topics, changed since November. Like, they gave us an actual realistic version of Stitch in November, and that's not what Disney's supposed to do. It is supposed to be a cartoon. Like, that nightmare thing. And it took them less than 6 months to reshoot and refix it.
Yeah.
Whereas Snow White, like, they actually tried to argue. And when you're arguing if your product is entertaining, you've already lost. Because I don't want to argue what's fun. I'm just going to go have fun somewhere else. Every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Speaking of fun somewhere else, it's probably time to go to China, because a film called Niza 2, probably saying that wrong, overtakes Star Wars The Force Awakens to become Force Awakens to become the number 5 highest grossing movie ever worldwide in the international box office. So, looks like I've got a couple of movies I'm going to have to catch up on because I wasn't aware of what Nizza was. But
No, I have no idea what it is. Corian says there isn't an English dub.
there isn't?
Isn't of the first one.
Well,
And he's working on getting his hands on an English dub of this one. Because of this record, they're actually like working on the dub. But before, they didn't think it was going to do this.
yeah.
And this is really like Hollywood has been spouting communist rhetoric since the 60s to some degree or another. And I don't mean that like being like pithy, like legitimately you can look at the through line. Hollywood is the number one source of communist rhetoric since the 70s. If this movie is worth all this money it's making when we review it, it's proof that
Well,
nobody understands what China's version of communism is. Because what they're doing, like the fact that they can actually produce a movie that, like, it's making so much money out of China.
right.
International box office includes China's money, but it includes everywhere else as well.
Yeah.
And so far, like, what is that? Is that 14 billion in RMB? I don't know what RMB is, but I don't think that's Chinese yuan. Is it? I don't know. There's a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
There's
It
a lot of
says
different
15. It says
currencies.
RMB at 15.2 billion, which comes out to 2.1 billion US. So I think it's
Okay, so
whatever
it
the
says
RMB is.
using today's exchange rate, it's 2.054 billion. Which, I mean, when you compare exchange rates, like that's just being annoying in American dollars, which is why they're saying it made more. Because, like, at the time, Force Awakens made 2.071 billion. But, oh, there you go. Adding another 31 million this week. That's how they beat out Star Wars. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, it is. And then of
But like
course
that
there's a whole
means it
bunch of
could be a
financial
great
stuff.
written
But
movie.
well, I
But it
mean,
also just
I'm curious.
it goes to show that you don't have to be rah communist to write good content.
You don't have to be
You can
Star
also
Wars
write
to
good
be to
content.
succeed Star Wars. Although Star Wars sucks now anyway, but well, at least it does until April 22nd.
Dahlia Lightwood, yo.
Yay! Hey, Dahlia, good to see you. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. We are coming towards well, we're probably wrapping up the last quarter of the Information Intelligence podcast, and then we'll have some announcements as to what to expect on next week's show, because honestly, there's
There's a lot to talk about, and we want to start getting focused.
you know, and
again.
having a weekly deadline to show up to do the homework was actually making me a better content reviewer, and just yeah. So we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But anyway, next up, and also, by the way, before we get too much into this, the remainder of this Information Intelligence podcast is actually going to be brought to you by Deadline.
Dahlia Lightwood.
Huh? Oh, yes. And of course, our sponsor, Dahlia Lightwood, who has now shown up to saturate our comments section, paying us with a little bit of her time to keep to help get the word out there that, hey, we're live and we're arguing about pop culture. So, all right. Joe Russo says Harvey Weinstein's campaign playbook vilified mainstream movies to champion the art films. He pushed for Academy recognition. Joe Russo, one half of the sibling powerhouse producing directing team known as the Russo brothers, that's the freaking Avengers shit, posited that today's blockbuster versus indie discourse is in large part due to Harvey Weinstein's Oscars campaign playbook. In an interview with the UK's The Sunday Times, Russo lamented that popular film success at the box office and disproportionate losses at the Academy Awards is due to a trend started by the disgraced mogul. This trend was started by Harvey Weinstein, he said. He vilified mainstream movies to champion the art films he pushed for Oscar campaigns. Popular films were winning Oscars before the mid-90s, then Weinstein started started mudslinging campaigns. It affected how audiences view the Oscars because they've not seen most of the movies. We're in a complicated place. Things we should all be enjoying collectively, we instead punch each other in the face over. The Avengers Endgame co-director added, like this argument that Marvel movies were killing cinema. Well, Marvel movies seem to be keeping cinemas open for quite a long time, and he's actually got a point there. Most people, while superhero films are not necessarily the most elegant or decadent of cinema to consume, they were keeping asses in the chairs.
I'm going to be 100% honest. This feels like a South Park episode. Like Joe Russo is Stan and Harvey Weinstein was the goth kids. You guys are just so mainstream.
You guys just ruin movies.
Everybody likes that. That's so lame. It's so lame that everybody is enjoying that film that you made that nobody had ever thought of or imagined before until you did. So lame.
Yeah. Dahlia Lightwood says, anyone hear about the shocking Snow White or the unshocking Snow White disaster getting slammed by pre-reviewers? Yeah.
I did
we
not
were
hear
just
about
talking
the
about that.
pre-reviewers. I just heard about the precautionary steps taken
To cancel the red carpet and save money. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like the amount of things they did to save face so far, I've heard about that, but I did not know that the reviewers are already going is bad. Which is like that's what I opened the show with. Again, it's whoever is doing the pre-screen, like, is this what the audience wants? Like, you've got to go 3 malls outside of your current radius because they are selling you a bag full of cheese, man.
Yeah. So, and of course, to add to this, we now have Russo making a ridiculous. I'm sorry, I just don't see. I'm gonna finish the article. To be fair, the cinematic blockbuster, as moviegoers and filmmakers have known it 3 decades ago, has changed drastically. The top-grossing films of the 90s, such as Titanic and Jurassic Park, had budgets that would cower in the face of the 300 million-plus figures now seen from such fares as the Russo brothers' The Electric State, now streaming on Netflix. Wow, nice plug. A number of them, like Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Armageddon, and Independence Day, were also solely nominated in craft categories, like Best Sound Mixing, Visual Editing, and Visual Effects. Of course, other projects, including Forrest Gump, The Sixth Sense, and Terminator 2 Judgment Day, received plenty of recognition in other Oscar denominations. Right, because those films actually had more character growth and substance, and those are still classics, whereas Episode 1 only got better because of the sequel trilogy.
No, dude, this guy, what he is saying is like, look at the numbers. Like the Oscars, this is actually, it's really funny because I heard something about this on Joe Rogan. I can't remember who he was talking to. I think it was Bert Kreischer. But like they were talking about the Oscars and both of them were like, no, I have no idea what the actual like picking criteria is. Because when you look at the actual who brought in the most money and go, all right, these are the top 10 earners. Here is why we chose earner number 4 as the best picture, because it had the best story writing. It had the best character development. It had the best. And like now suddenly the Oscars is a source of learning. Like, oh, what did we miss? Oh, they beat us by that. Ah, man, really that? And like they show this scene that shows it's better. That just showed like they had the best character development, and you show a little quick scene of Forrest Gump becoming a man. You're like, oh yeah, that was better than what happened in Pulp Fiction, right? Even though both of them most likely were top earners, which top earner is the toppest earner becomes less relevant because then it's like, all right, now that's a popularity contest, and they won that game. Now let's pick which toppest earner had the best quality. And here's what we define as quality. Now everybody knows what Hollywood defines as quality. So all you kids from all over the rest of the world. If you want to achieve quality in Hollywood, you have rubric. Thanks, Oscars. Now you're a service,
Yeah.
not just a waste of pageantry.
Right. Yeah. Dahlia Lightwood continues to tear into Snow White, says, and the thing is, even the woke-ass gay rainbow people like me are not into Snow White and are bashing it. Yeah, that's correct. Actually, I wouldn't even. Well, yeah. The movie looks terrible. The very darkly color graded, like all the Disney remakes. The songs, or these days, and the songs, yikes. And the dwarves look weird. They have huge noses and ears and are portrayed as ugly and deformed. It's totally offensive, and they look nothing like real human beings. Mind you, there are handsome and beautiful real little people out there who are professional actors, but they didn't hire real humans and created these CGI monstrosities. Yeah, no, I honestly have no idea what was going on, how they even. It seems like people just used their connections, pulled strings, and then put together one of the worst live action adaptations that could have ever just come into existence. And that's not even talking about the just annoyingness of the lead actor.
I actually do think I know what happened. I think the writers and director and like the whole team that produced this, they went to Aspen for the first time and they did a little Snow White and they drove on ice for the first time and overcorrected a bunch and forgot to learn from their mistakes when writing and producing this heap of garbage. Like the comment about there's handsome little people. Dude, Tyrion Lannister is still one of my all-time favorite characters ever. Like top 3 is Superman, Tyrion, and Reacher. In terms of all of literature, playing fiction, Reacher's up there with Sam Fisher and Splinter Cell, but like those two are basically interchangeable. Reacher's the commonly known one though. But like that, those 3 tropes are my favorite. And Tyrion's not even a trope. Like that character is right, just stands on his own. So like Gimli used to be that way. Like for a long time in my childhood, the top 3 was Legolas, Aragorn, and Gimli. Like,
but John Rhys Davies wasn't a small person though. That's the crazy part. Is that they actually made him look. Yeah, no.
But even then, it's just like that's better than what they came up with here, which was like trying to claymation the actual 3D images, except like Snow White has a human face.
Yeah.
Like it's really claymation, and that's just
it's dumb.
Worst use of Unreal.
What's not so dumb is Jared Padalecki teases Supernatural reunion with Jensen Ackles in The Boys' final season. It's effing terrifying for me. Well, this what? No, this is
that sucks.
What?
Oh man, well, so I don't know if you've been following The Boys. I'm a huge fan.
I stopped watching, I think, midway through season 2 because I got bored, and then I found out that Aquaman, fucked an octopus, and that was like, why would I subject myself
to this? It's so funny.
Of course, that's what everyone says. It's hilarious, and I'm like, it's bestiality.
It's hilarious. It works with the character development.
Oh,
it's like
come on, no, god damn,
denigrating character development.
This is YouTube, not Pornhub.
You're like, this guy's gonna redeem himself, and that's kind of dumb.
He's gonna redeem himself by banging an octopus. That makes sense.
No. That's what I'm saying. That like the show, because he stays on, he's still a main number of the 7. So you're like, oh no, is Starlight gonna actually convince him to be a better man? And it looks like it, man. Season 2, it looks like it.
Dahlia Lightwood says, yeah, save it for fanfic.
And it's funny. It's so funny. It's so good. So worth it if you're an adult. But if you've been following, Jensen Ackles is what's his name? Freedom Man's, I forget his name. the Dark Superman, Jensen Ackles plays his dad.
Oh, Homelander.
Homelander's dad, yes, and
Jensen
Soulja Boy.
Ackles is Homelander's dad. That doesn't. But they're about the same age.
Dude, it's really fun. So like superheroes were invented in Vietnam.
All right.
In,
I'm gonna do something extremely stupid in front of people, and I'm gonna make you a deal. I'm gonna make you a deal live here in front of witnesses. All right.
You played a weird match.
I will go back, and I will do an offline. I will start doing the offline boys reviews with you, starting from episode 1, because we should just have that content on our channel anyway. And I will go back and rewatch the boys as long as you show up and do the homework for the shows starting again next week. We'll keep it to just 2 shows for now, as well as an ass ton of pop culture like we've got. But if you could show up for me, I'll make it a point to try and show up for you, and I will catch up on the boys. I'll even watch all that stuff. We'll host the reviews on this channel because that's what it means to have integrity. But
dude, that's what it means to actually enjoy like content.
I mean, we might follow this season live when it comes through because, well, this interests me. It does. I mean, I love Supernatural, well, the first, 5 seasons.
No, but see, this is where I was going with this. When you add Jared Padalecki to it, and he's saying it's terrifying for me, this dude is not, he's an actually, expressive interviewer. So what he's basically saying is he's going to die in a very gruesome way.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. But also, disappointed because, I'm getting really tired of weak superheroes. I really like people that can actually almost take Homelander or maybe actually can take him. We can hope to find out. And that is the only thing
I agree with Dahlia's point here. You know, humanoid aliens is one thing. Actual animals, look, I'm gonna need a lot of booze to get through that. So anyway,
dude,
Jared,
he can talk.
We can talk about it when we do the review. No. Just when we do the review.
It actually makes complete sense.
When we do the review. Jared Padalecki is teasing his on-screen reunion with his former Supernatural co-stars in the final season of The Boys. Padalecki will join The Boys' Jensen Ackles and fellow Supernatural alum Misha Collins on season 5 for the Prime Video series. Damn it! Of course they had to do something. This.
Wait, Misha Collins is going on there too?
Yeah, this interests me considerably. Damn it! I suppose if I can skip the rest of Rick and Morty season 4 and go right to season 5, I can figure out how to suffer through this show again. Well, it wasn't really suffering. I loved season 1. Season 1 was Butcher was my spirit animal.
Dude, Butcher in season 4? Woo!
He just off the rails.
Yeah.
Because he seemed to get a little tame in season 2 comparatively, but I'll
Oh, dude, there's a reason for all of it. It gets way weirder than you think.
We're gonna go back to episode 1, but we will figure it out and we'll go one step at a time. But all right, back to the article. Let's see. Padalecki confirmed that he will share the screen with Ackles and added, "I don't know what we're doing. I don't know if we're bump into each other. I don't know much about it. They're still trying to write and figure out who's going to be there, but it'll be the end of this month." Supernatural premiered on the WB, not to be confused with TWB, in 2005 and crossed over to the CW the following year. The series, created by Eric Kripke, ran for 15 seasons and ended its run in 2020. The link between Supernatural and The Boys is Kripke, who developed the superhero series for Prime Video. Of course, right. It's one of those, I'm going to get all my friends in at the very end. All right, fine. I think I watched, 12 seasons of Supernatural or something, and I did like it. It was really cool, really compelling take on all that spiritual voodoo tinfoil hat shit.
Dude, Supernatural. I did lose out. I have not finished it, but
well, that's another show we can do for offline reviews too. So you know what? I'm gonna have to get back into the All right. For Wednesday fans, it would seem that you have a tease for season 3, and of course, season 2. There's a whole episode based off slashers. Well, that's really cool. John, should have vetted this one. Got it. If any of you guys are Wednesday fans in the comments, please express your enthusiasm, and I will pull up that article and go back and read it for you. And I will be excited for you because you want to hear about it. So, yeah, exactly. Former actress Maitland Ward feels more respected as a porn filmmaker.
Dude,
Before I read this article, like, that headline alone is, brah.
It makes a lot of sense because, like, the people who are shameless enough to talk to their favorite porn star are going to do it in the nicest possible way because they want to continue talking to them. Because
well, and it's a more honest conversation because,
because
yeah, you've seen everything, and it's like there's no pretending about anything.
No. You missed the joke. I said it's because they've already been told to stop talking to their other favorites.
Right.
And
I already got 6 restraining orders for my other favorite porn stars. I'm not
about
to add more.
Like, with Disney characters, like, most of them were not getting shit on for being naked. They were getting shit on for, and unfortunately, in some cases, not being willing to get naked, but also, in a lot of cases, for other people's writing. Like, stuff she had no power over, but now she has power over what she participates in, and all of her fans are fans.
Yeah.
And act as fans are supposed to do. And act as, like, that's why we started this whole show. We attack the writers, not the actors. We almost always try to go, they gave it their best. I am so sorry.
Yeah. Maitland Ward, who made her name in the 1990s Disney-produced sitcom Boy Meets World, says she enjoys more industry respect now that she has branched out into pornographic filmmaking. So, from Disney to porno. The former starlet found success in seasons 6 and 7 of Boy Meets World, where she played Rachel McGuire. Previously, she had broken through on CBS TV soap The Bold and the Beautiful in the mid-90s. Ward has since moved into a different field, and she told Fox News Digital of the empowerment she now feels in her new career. She told the news outlet, "I really think people treat me with more respect now, honestly. Especially even in Hollywood right now. I'm pitching my memoir into a TV format and talking with people. They're so respectful and they're so positive about my story, especially younger people and different people that I speak to in Hollywood and stuff. They're just much more receptive to the story. And I really feel like I have a lot of positivity around it. I'm able to create my own brand, my own content, the way I want to create it." You know, I like how I said, like, in the last article, this isn't Pornhub, and yet, well, anyway. I mean, that, I don't know what to say about that statement. That felt very, SoCal in reading it.
Honestly, it feels I left SoCal and now I'm back.
Right, so let me try something else. I'm creating full-length movies. I'm doing things like making projects that it makes more sense when I talk like that. I'm making projects that I really feel passionate about. I work with a female director who has been amazing, and I think people are always surprised by that 2 women are creating these long, erotic, pornographic art pieces, and I think that's really special. It made more sense when I changed my tone. On a positive note, Ted Lasso has been renewed for season 4.
Positive bullshit, dude. This is the first time Apple's broken a promise, and I don't like it.
I'm, you know, since Ted Lasso came to an end, the world went to shittier. So, like,
no, Ted Lasso held the world together with the tape on the wall, but it said it was done, and now it's back. And, like, how do they have anything ready? Because they really did say they had a 3-season arc. So, like, do they have another 3-season arc? And if so,
well, I'm going to read
It's
this
the
article to try to
emotional
answer your
resonance that
question.
Ted Lasso had. Are they going to degrade it by turning him into more Michael Scott, or are they going to find a way to harmonize the character development we just had? That's why I don't like it. But I am going to watch it and find out. It is Apple. They've been doing good. But a promise is a promise, and a promise broken is mean.
All right, so with that, let's dive right in. The belief is strong, and so strong that Apple TV's smash hit comedy series Ted Lasso is officially back on the pitch for a 4th season. Rumors and buzz around the 4th season begin with Deadline's exclusive report about Warner Bros. Television initial pickup options on 3 original cast members who had been contracted under the aegis of the UK acting union Equity. Deadline broke the news in August 2024, but now the return is for sure happening with creator and star Jason Sudeikis on board. Who is returning for Ted Lasso Season 4? Deadline first reported that Hannah Waddingham, Brett Goldstein, and Jeremy Swift had been secured for a 4th season of the football series. Waddingham portrays AFC Richmond owner Rebecca Walton, whose arc over 3 seasons took her from vicious enemy to vital friend. Goldstein, who recently went in front of the camera in Shrinking Season 2, another show he co-creates with Bill Lawrence, who worked on the first 2 seasons of Ted Lasso with Goldstein writing and acting, playing gruff retired footballer and now assistant coach at AFC Richmond Roy Kent. Swift portrays director of football operations and Diamond Dog member Leslie Higgins. Jason Sudeikis, who created the show with Bill Lawrence based off an NBC skit he did back in 2013 for an ad campaign where he first brought Coach Ted Lasso to life following his meaner version of the character on Saturday Night Live, confirmed his return for Season 4 in the New Heights podcast co-hosted by American football players Travis and Jason Kelsey. I can read tonight. So... yeah, Deadline first heard of the trio of option pickup contracts. Phil Dunster, who plays Jamie Tart in the TV show, wasn't among them due to a scheduling conflict with another series. He has since committed on to a regular role on the new HBO comedy opposite Steve Carell, which also comes from Ted Lasso executive producer Bill Lawrence and Warner Bros. TV. Oh. So he might end up making a guest appearance or something. Who knows?
Man, dude, this is hard.
Honestly, I think at this point we'll see what they come up with to see what happens. Because yeah, it really could just go either way. I mean, who really knows? But I'm excited. I enjoyed Season 1 and 2. Season 3 did a pretty good job of ending it, but it definitely wasn't the show's, strongest moment.
Honestly, to me, it's like, it's mostly about the commitment from the writing team.
Yeah.
Like, if Jason Sudeikis has more, I hope it's in the right direction or continues on the path. But Jason Sudeikis did write 3 seasons of Awesome, so trust him with his own stuff.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
that's my biggest concern is always who's coming back. And like, that's the part with George Lucas that really bums me out with his selling of Star Wars was like, dude, don't sell it, license it. Goodness, like you did the first time, just let somebody build off of it. Don't run away from the project, own the project, have the team, be Kathleen Kennedy at Disney. Don't lose your baby. But I digress.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, right. Please join us next week. We are going to be bringing back our show reviews. That means we're going to. I think next week we're going to talk about Invincible. We're going to talk about 1922, as well as our 1 hour plus of pop culture information and open discussion about whatever related pop culture. Typically like to keep it to entertainment news on the Entertainment Information Intelligence podcast, but you know, we'll do what we can. Special shout out to Dahlia Lightwood. Thank you for showing up in the comments. We do appreciate everybody who takes the time to like, share, subscribe, and if you engage us in the comments, we will do our best to read just about everything we can. If not, we do have it featured right here on the side where it can stay forever. Well, at least as long as the stream's going. Otherwise, like I said, please join us next week. We're going to talk about more pop culture. We're going to talk about Invincible. We're going to talk about 1923 Season 2. I'm Peter York, the Writer Brothers. We'll see you next week. This has been a presentation of the Writer Brothers, Entertainment Information Intelligence Podcast. The Writer Brothers, restoring respect into discourse.